Psychological horror games tackle heavy themes that are interesting and intriguing. However, finding the right type of gameplay for this type of game can be a challenge. Today, I am going to talk to you about a game that embraces this challenge, promising the players the ultimate psychological horror experience. But does it deliver? Hi everyone, my name is Jeremy and this is my non-spoiler review for Anthology of Fear for PC on Steam. The game was developed by Old Deer Studios and 100 Games and published by 100 Games and Gamer's Guide Games. Anthology of Fear follows the story of a man who is investigating the disappearance of his brother. This takes him to a clinic where his brother was a patient. There, he finds clues to what happened and something doesn't seem right. The game's story is told through voice-acted conversations, documents with important information, and visual sequences that show key events. In terms of the visuals of this game, the game goes for a realistic look. The graphics are high-end and detailed. The game takes place in different settings, mainly in the clinic and the interior of some houses, and they all look realistic and accurate to those settings. In terms of performance, the game ran at 1080p, 60 FPS at max settings, with barely any frame rate drops, showing that the game is very polished. I encountered only one bug during the final section of the game, but was able to work around it. These were the game's PC requirements, and these were my PC specs. In what regards to the music and sound design, the game has some very nice atmosphere generated by some light atmospheric tracks and sound effects. Nothing particularly stood out, but it was good enough to keep me immersed. So let's talk about the gameplay. Anthology of Fear is a psychological horror first-person adventure game. The gameplay focuses on puzzle solving and finding key items to open doors or solve puzzles. The puzzles in this game are extremely simple. There isn't much to them, and you will find all you need to solve the puzzle in the area in which you are in. The game has very little exploration, and it's very directive with its approach. What I mean by this is that the game will tell you what you need to find, and usually there aren't too many places to explore, so it's pretty simple to find the key item needed to move forward. Because this is a psychological horror game, there are a lot of heavy themes that you work through as you play through the game. At the same time, you are left mostly exploring the same spaces that shift and change a little after certain events, meaning there's little variety in level design and setting. The game takes around 2 to 3 hours to complete, depending on how fast you play through it. So let's talk about the cons and pros of this game. I think my biggest complaint with this game is the bare bones gameplay. You probably noticed that I didn't describe much in terms of the gameplay because there isn't much to explain. At the beginning of the game, you get the impression that exploration is going to play a more significant role in this game, but after a while you notice that that is not the case. The game demands very little input from the player. The exploration is extremely limited, puzzles are extremely simple, and there isn't much left in terms of gameplay after that. To make matters worse, the level design is an issue too. You are left exploring the same places with slight changes that happen after certain events. After a while, those areas get boring because you find yourself moving back and forward in the stage, looking for the cues that you need to trigger to move the story forward, or finding some items to solve a very simple puzzle. They focus so much on the story that the gameplay took a backseat the entire game. My second complaint with this game is that the story is interesting but not fleshed out enough. The story premise of Anthology of Fear is familiar but interesting. However, I struggled to feel a connection to the characters that appear throughout the game. I feel like the story needed to be more fleshed out, so it had more connective tissue that allowed the players to care for the characters and story. So let's talk about the strong points of this game. First of all, the visuals. The game's visuals are extremely good. The realistic graphics look beautiful. And secondly, story presentation. Despite the story not being fleshed out enough, its story presentation is very well done. What I mean by this is that the game has some excellent visual sequences that are scary, unnerving, and that, alongside the music and sound design, really generate a horror atmosphere that clearly has some symbolical and psychological elements to it. The use of the lighting and color and disturbing imagery is handled excellently, and it's the most memorable part of the game. In conclusion, Anthology of Fear sets out to deliver an immersive psychological horror story. The visuals, atmosphere, and the story presentation, comprised of some visually impressive and disturbing sequences, serve as the building blocks for that delivery. However, the game fails to offer the player a fleshed out story and a substantial gameplay experience, leaving players with a mixed experience. For this reason, I recommend this game, but with caution. So, I hope you guys enjoy my non-spoiler review for Anthology of Fear. The link to the game's Steam page is in the description. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye! Hi everyone, if you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel to keep up to date with our content.